Hi everyone, and welcome to the Book Refuge. Today I'm bringing you as quick as I can review and some spoilers for the Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. I buddy read this book this month with Joe from Not So Average Joe and Murphy from Murphy Napier. I read this book also with her Patreons, but also with Joe, and I have a lot of feelings about it that are like mixed but also really exciting, and yeah, it's a whole thing. So I'm gonna start with just a few non-spoilery things, but then most of this will be spoilers because it's a second book in a series. If you'd like to know more about the first book in the series, I did a full review for that, which you can grab up there at the eye, but otherwise we're gonna move along. Okay, so this is a return to one of my favorite books of this year so far. This is the second one in the series. I really liked a lot of the setup. It was very engaging. There was a mystery about what was happening, where this is, the setup of this is like it's the end of the world. Every so often there'll be this thing called a fifth season, and it basically destroys Earth and it starts it over. And there was also a mystery happening for how that is happening, as well as there was a mystery of what was happening with these three women who are all at different points in their life, and they all have different things going on, and finding out, you know, how they're connected within this world. Are they connected at all? Was very interesting, and it made this a 5-star read for me, and one of the more unique stories that I've read, which is really exciting. However, with the Obelisk Gate, I did have a few more mixed feelings this time. It still continued to be fascinating, and it's like we're seeing a painting from this close to our face, and so you know that it's beautiful and really complex, but all you can see are the parts right in front of you. And so I wish that I could see more of the painting by the end of this book, and I feel like it does fall into that middle book of a trilogy thing that happens, even though a lot of people told me this one would be better, this is where it really kicks in, and I can see that in some aspects, but I didn't really feel it all the way through. In fact, it really dragged in big parts of this, because there would be chapters from one of the characters tended to be really long, and there was just things that I didn't care what was happening. I wanted to read what was happening with one of the other characters, and there would just be pages and pages of this one point of view, and I didn't like that. So in this one, we have 3 different perspectives that we're drawing from. We have Isun, which we were in last time, Naesun, who is Isun's daughter that she was looking for in the first novel, and Shafa, who was the guardian who was in charge of Demaya in the last novel, or not Demaya, yeah, Demaya and Cyanite, who some crap went down with that person in the last way. And I really didn't like him, but I really liked the things that we were learning. That perspective with Isun, we learned in the last novel that that second person perspective was coming from Hoa, who is this stone eater child, and he's telling Isun's perspective to her, and that's mentioned in these, like, there are these interludes throughout the book and things like that, and so we knew that. And I'll have more feelings and theories about that in the spoiler section. So yeah, so that's really all that I'm gonna say without spoilers for this. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really did still enjoy myself, but it just drug in too many parts for me, and I don't like that I don't understand more things by now. In general, if I wasn't so hyped for other parts of this, I would have like DNF'd this one, because I'm just like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and I don't like that part of it. So, all right, here is your spoiler warning. As always, I'm gonna go into some things that I liked and didn't like, and then we'll be done with this one. Like I said, want to keep it a little bit faster, because I feel like if you read the first one, you probably don't need as much encouragement to read this one, but you know. So, the things that I didn't like, so that I can end on the positive. So, honestly, the ambiguity of this novel really was a detractor for me, as I've already mentioned. I don't like that I don't understand anything about this, you know, Pangea type single planet we're dealing with, how the hierarchies got into place, why things are happening this way, like what causes the orogeny to happen. There's just too many things that they're not starting to explain, and I know there's a reason for that. The reason for that is like the people that we're dealing with, they don't understand it, so therefore you don't get to know, you know, because this isn't a third person novel, like this is a second person, everything's being told to us. Well, that being said, how does Hoa know some of these things? Because he's telling the whole story. Just when he's talking about when he's talking to Asun, he's talking in second person perspective, but with the other two perspectives, he also knows what they're thinking and what's happening, and I don't understand how he knows that. So unless there will be a time in the future where he will have talked to those people, I don't understand how he has those memories and how he knows everything that happened. And it's just getting frustrating for me how. So I hope that the purpose of him telling this story is just like mind-blowing in the third book, and then maybe I can look back at this book with a little more favorable opinions later on. Next, the violence. There are some gut-wrenching scenes in this, just like in the first one. There's more child violence, and I really dislike that I find myself justifying it. But you do, just because of the story that we're dealing with, you start to justify child violence because the small amount of violence that's done to the children is to protect them from a greater amount of it. But I just don't like the rationalization that goes with it, and it was very frustrating. There was also some very gory scenes. There was a scene, this is the spoiler part, so I can say this. There's a scene where someone's like arm has to get cut off, and it's very deeply described. And then there's a scene where Hoa has had a fight with another stone eater, and there are parts of his body missing, like parts of his face, his lower jaw is missing, and it was just, I was driving, or not driving because I didn't listen to this. What was I doing? That was another book that we did. Well, no, but yeah, I was reading it at work at lunchtime, and I just wasn't prepared for it. But it is very hard hitting, but I just don't like it. So I'm putting it in what I didn't like. That's how it goes. And then again, as I mentioned, the time that drags with Asun, like we spend so much time with her, and we've set up these amazing things with Nasun and Shafa, and we just like left it alone. And it was page 275 where like the shoe finally dropped with her and something crazy happened. And I know when it happened because my friend Joe told both me and Murphy, hey, if you make it to this page, you will not give up. I've already read 2/3 of the book, and it just was unacceptable to me that there wasn't anything else in there keeping me going for some of it. Yeah, so that was annoying. Okay, now let's talk about the things that I loved. So I loved that Hoa, when he was that little boy, and then that happened to him where he had that fight with the stone eater, and the current body he was in was destroyed basically, and then Asun like makes him comfortable, and he like regenerates into his another form, which is an adult version of himself who talks more and is the one who's telling us the story. So we've gotten a step closer to understanding why he's telling her this story. And I really liked how I'm just fascinated by their connection. I know that he explains to us that he is the Obelisk that she talked to in the end of the last book when the tragedy happened with her child. Like she's the one that she saved him or communicated with him somehow, and that's why he's been following her. And he made himself a boy so that she would want to like protect him and bring him along, and if he'd been this form, she would have been freaked out and not done it. I really like that. And then the thing with Asun where when she does the thing and Alabaster ends up dying, she ends up like killing him the rest of the way, and he completely turns to stone, and we find out that he will be a stone eater. That's like one of the last lines of the books, is that there's a stone eater who looks like Alabaster now. But now Asun is turning to stone herself because she like used too much power or like did too much or something, and now she's turning to stone as well. And that is kind of the like theory then, is that since, you know, Alabaster was losing parts of his memory, my friend Murphy, and I agree with this too, thinks that Hoa would be telling her this story because she herself now is like losing her memory as well. So maybe. I also loved Naesoon. I did. She was so smart. I loved watching her figure out how to manipulate Jija so he wouldn't kill her too. And how I love the line in it where, oh, my book's back there. Anyway, where she decides to keep calling Jija daddy to his face to keep him like loving her, but she wasn't gonna call him daddy in her head anymore. And I really like that, as well as when she decides to do that with Isun. Like, she's like, I can't call her mama either. But then through her journey of this, when she realizes that her mother taught her all the things that would have happened to her if she'd been at the institute or like wherever, she starts calling her mama again without realizing it. Because even though there's so much hurt there and like there needs to be a reckoning of like their relationship, which Shafa is now getting the benefit of, who's the one who made Isun the way she is. And so it's just this like this triangle of hurt where all these people are like in this society where the only thing they can do is hurt. And to try to break out of it, it even hurts you. Like Shafa, he's fighting those instincts to hurt Naesoon. He doesn't want to do it, but he's literally in pain by refusing to hurt her. And so it's this weird, this dynamic is just all over the place, and it's so overwhelming. But I loved Naesoon. I love her time with Shafa, even though Shafa, who is the last thing I have that I love, even though he is so frustrating and you know the evil that he's done, he is trying to protect these kids. You just still hate him because you hate what he represents. And to me, I don't feel like he'll ever be redeemed to me, just because of the hurt he's caused to this mother-daughter relationship and like the things he did to the mother. I still found his character fascinating and how much he's trying to change. And Naesoon has found a way to heal him, and she wants to heal him so he won't be in pain anymore. But if she does that, then he won't be powerful and he won't be able to protect her, so he refuses to be healed. And it's just, it hurts a little bit. It hurts. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. Like I said, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It's enough for me to read it. You may have or are about to see my TBR for next month. I'm gonna read the final book, and that may completely change my feeling about this one. Once I know where it's going, it could change all of this. But for now, it's gonna be a 4 out of 5 just because my enjoyment level wasn't there. I still objectively think it's a really well-made book, and a lot of people are going to like it. But thank you so much for watching. I put up new videos every Monday and Thursday, and sometimes other days, like this one is on another day. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and you can watch some more videos right now.